I'm a huge fan of the perennial spinaches. And again, it depends what zone, right? Because everything starts with what grows naturally in your zone already. Start with that as the base. And that's where permaculture design is so helpful, because the designers, that's what they've been doing for decades, is they've been combining their information as they learn it and putting it into databases. So they found that they used to think there were 10,000 different types of edible. Now it's pretty much infinite.
Check this out. Many people today struggle to manage their weight, but this is more true than ever after the age of 20, because after the age of 20, our body's metabolism slows down by as much as 4% every decade. By the time we're 50, we've experienced a 10% drop or more in our metabolism. That's a risk to health. That's why I highly recommend adaptwithketo.com. This product works by increasing the ketone levels inside your body, which in turn support boosted metabolism. A scoop a day, I saw improvements for my energy levels while working on the farm. And the best part is I never had to cut out carbs or make other changes to my diet. And if you've been looking for a great way to support your weight management goals, you're going to love adaptwithketo.com. And for the next 24 hours, take 51% off your order, adaptwithketo.com, or click on the link in the description box below. And now on with the video. And good afternoon, everyone. Today I have with me Jim Gayle, foodforestabundance.com. Now, we've been talking about solutions on the channel here for a long time because the problems inbound are gigantic and something that our society has never encountered or seen before. This is even beyond a fourth turning into what I believe is a multi-millennia turning. And we've talked about that before. But what are the solutions here? You're going to need to turn your lawn into a sustainable food forest, or at least start gardens at the periphery of your home, herb gardens, thinking edible landscapes. This is the kind of solutions that we're all going to need to implement incredibly fast this summer at the latest, I really believe, and governments will come on and start to tell you drip feed that you'll need to grow your own food. So for myself and everybody out there, this is going to be a great one. So Jim, thanks for joining, and the floor is yours.
So, and a lot of people have all these BSs, the belief systems, the bad science, and about how hard it is to grow food. That's not true at all. When you design and install properly, then nature does all the work.
Yeah, it's getting that functionality, and then in different latitudes, knowing which plants you can plant there. Because obviously, if you're in, let's say, Michigan, you're not doing moringa unless it's inside, and you're going to get 2 months to grow it in a bag outside in a grow bag. So it's all about knowing your species. I mean, there's a lot of stuff growing in cooler climates you can't grow down there.
Exactly.
Oh, is that a mint plant? Spearmint.
It is. Yep.
Something mint.
Yep. We've got about 140 species of food growing here, and about 120 of them are perennials. And then we've got a few annuals coming in as well.
That's the way we should be living. And it should be that easy to go out too. You shouldn't have to walk, to the back 40 to go get a salad for the night or pick a couple tomatoes. Everything needs to be right around and very functional.
Yeah.
To you harvesting that food to use each day.
That's exactly right. So permaculture, the science of sustainable agriculture, is about energy transfer. So the first zone outside your house are going to be the crops that you want to use, like the herbs and the spices and maybe the lemon tree if you like lemons in your water. So it's very easily accessible. The next zone 2, is going to be your food forest, where you've got your, you might have to walk another 50 feet, and then you can pick just a variety of different foods. Here's another one. Look at this beauty.
Yeah, and a little insect eating on the leaves let you know it's definitely not has any pesticide on there. I like to, you got a chameleon. Nice.
Isn't that beautiful? I love those little guys. I've been picking on this one all day.
Yeah.
This is freedom. When you can just walk in, you can pick a plant and say, "Oh, here's some food."
Is that sweet potato leaf there?
Yeah. Oh, there's sweet potatoes.
Oh, it's beans.
These are beans, and we do have loads. In fact, we have loads of sweet potatoes. By the way, that's my favorite. If I had to pick one, that would be my favorite all time as far as the ease and the nutrient density.
Really, how easy is it to grow? You have sandy soil down there, so up here in clay soil, that's a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's your go-to. What do you see? So when you say nutrients, talking about what nutrient density in that sweet potato, how does that really compare with other potato varieties?
Sweet potatoes have more types of nutrients and more nutrient density than regular potatoes. And they're actually not even a potato. They're a different type of plant, but you can grow them indoors. And this is something, if you got an apartment, you can grow these things indoors with some grow lights. The cannabis industry has taught us how to do it.
How many grow lights would you need to really put a yield out for a family of 4? Because we're coming into times where supply chains aren't working so well, but did people get grow lights already? And what if they go, oh, honey, we need to get grow lights. And the wife's talking, we need grow lights. Check. And then
exactly.
Like, not available.
Yeah.
And, what's the price tag on that? Holy smokes.
I'd start getting the grow lights right away. Look at these are sweet potatoes. I harvested from this area here. I harvested about 30 pounds of sweet potatoes. Isn't that amazing?
So if food went down, how much could you really ingest of sweet potatoes to keep you alive and functional? Do you think you could use that as the base of a diet versus, I don't know.
Absolutely. I heard one time somebody said that the potatoes saved millions of people in Europe and Russia. I think it was during the First World War.
I saw apple tree back. Oh, that's mulberries right there.
Yep. And
we're planting some mulberry trees later today.
Was here yesterday. He's a smart guy. I love that guy. And he was telling me about mulberries can grow in so many different zones, and they're incredibly nutrient rich as well. Like so canna lily and papayas. So again, if you're in the north, like my buddy in Minnesota, off the tip of Lake Superior, he's got 300 different species of edibles and medicinals growing, and it's growing so abundantly that the animals and the wind and the rain are coming into his system, and they're planting food forests out in the forest around his house. So a food forest by its very nature is expansive. It's so amazing.
Yeah, and I want to add something about the mulberry. Oh, yeah, aloe there. That mulberry leaf, the leaves are a superfood, also very similar to moringa, but you have to get the younger leaves, and you can either eat them fresh or you can dry them and powderize them like you can do with moringa. So if you're looking at superfood nutrient density, moringa and mulberry leaf are going to be, well, mulberry leaf will be number 2, obviously, but it's going to be up there in terms of what you can get for density from a leaf or something powderized.
Wow, I'm learning some good stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I was up in Laos and I was traveling up near Vang Vieng, and they were doing a goat farm / renewable energy project up there. They were trying to do something permaculture mixed with renewable energy, solar panels and thing. But they had this vast area growing of mulberry, and A, they were taking the fruit, but B, they were using all the leaves to feed the goats because they were boosting higher milk production in the goats because of the superfood leaves that they were being fed. So they were growing that specific crop, not grains. They were growing mulberries for the leaves. Man,
that's fantastic. I never
had that whole circle going there, and that was up in Laos many years ago.
And see, every single day I'm blown away by what I'm learning. It's so fantastic.
Yeah, because I'm thinking many levels of how to use, if you need fodder for rabbits or for chickens or something, they'll eat those leaves as well, fresh.
Yeah, such a beautiful thing. Every time I walk through this area, I feel good. There's something so abundant about. Look at these sweet potatoes. There's probably 100 pounds of sweet potatoes right here.
Easily, yeah, because once you start digging around in there, they seem to just come out. Lots more than you think are there, that's for sure.
Lots more. I mean, look at this. Nature is so abundant and so giving that it's just a matter of taking out the poisons and the poison producers. When we can expose the ignorance of the poisons and the poison producers, then this will be This will be everywhere, my friends. This is the world that we're creating with you when we simply step back and use these resources with natural, God-given kind of processes. I'm so excited about this. Look at the dill. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, easy to grow that one too. See, it's so I love it, just the way it's at the ease of everything coming up, and it's tending to itself by interacting amongst itself. The plant roots are communicating underground with each other.
Yep. It's just so simple. It's like we've done nothing in 8 months. We've done nothing here. After planting, we've done nothing else.
10 years ago, you would have been out on the fringe and be like, okay, that's a nice little novelty thing over there on the left or right or wherever you're looking at it. But now it's becoming a truly essential part of our lives. Like everybody in the entire planet's going to have to learn how to grow food again. So I think we're spinning the clock back to more pioneering lifestyle days. And we're going to definitely have to learn what our grandparents did, from canning your foods to drying your foods. And that's just the world we're moving into. And again, like you said, you can, lie on the ground in a fetal position and scream about it, like, oh, I can't take it. Or you can embrace it and be like, man, we're going to make the best garden we've ever had. And we're going to share this food with our neighbors who can't grow so good. And we're going to, that's the way you can frame it. Like what we're going into at this point is you're going to have to embrace it or you're not going to make it. And it's a lifestyle change of it's a mental game. And I've learned that, over these years too, of, picking up where I was and then moving out to the farm here and getting all this. It's a mental game of, all right, thank you for the abundance and thank you for letting me even be out here, because waking up and it's so quiet except for the birds. I mean, you just can't buy things like that in a city. No. And the food's so abundant now too, walking around. It's springtime. Things are everywhere right now, everywhere to eat.
And so we've got a guy coming here to show us what's edible on the ground, like even dollarweed. Even dollarweed's edible. Now, most, the dandelions, the dollarweed, all these things that we kill in process of having a lawn that's not really edible. It's the ultimate. When we look back on these days of how we were mind controlled, we're gonna be like, oh my God. I mean, it's unfathomable from a perspective of consciousness how we've treated ourselves. However, that's the bad news. The good news is wake up and do it right.
Do you have some lead pipes I could borrow? We could irrigate with lead pipes. What do you think? Like, what I mean?
Man, I know what? Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, because dead nettles are out right now too, and that's another edible. Dead nettles, not the ones with the stinging parts, so more of a mint family thing. You're right. Dandelions. Every time I don't spray my lawn with anything, so everything out here is clean. Plus, it's like a 3-acre front yard. Who's going to take care? It's more of a, the orchard's out there, and then when I see the yellow flowers coming up, I'm like, oh, there's part of a salad, because I don't spray anything. And once your food source is clean, and that's another thing about walking around the pond. You're going to have to know if your water source is clean. If you want to forage for cattails and go fishing in there and catch a turtle or get some frogs or whatever, you definitely want to make sure the water source is clean. So if you're in control of it, then you know what's going into it.
Exactly. It's such a fun process. So all of the reasons, the belief systems not to do this, they're all programmed, because it's been proven in different studies that the act of observing a flower or walking through a forest, especially bare feet, when you can be connected to the energy of the earth, that experience is the most healthy thing we could do. So, literally, it's good in every single way to do this.
You can't walk with bare feet in the forest. First, you might cut your foot. Secondly, you might get a worm in there. You might get ringworm. You need to wear shoes. You have to.
Yep. You put a rubber buffer that stops the electrical current, right, from our source. Yeah, it's a really amazing system that we're in. But now is the time to wake up past that and see clearly.
What do you think are some really easy plants or species that people can grow and have pretty good success? Because I saw your apple tree there. And here in Tennessee, the windsap variety is what they call a no-brainer. Like, it's really hard to kill it or go wrong with windsap here. So, that's on the orchard side of things, or mulberries, or another one. But what do you think? And sweet potato you mentioned. Do you have a few others that just pretty much you're going to get to yield because
I'm I'm a huge fan of the perennial spinaches. And again, it depends what zone, right? Because everything starts with what grows naturally in your zone already. Start with that as the base. And that's where permaculture design is so helpful, because the designers, that's what they've been doing for decades, is they've been combining their information as they learn it and putting it into databases. So they found that they used to think there were 10,000 different types of edible. Now it's pretty much infinite. There are infinite different types of edible plants growing. We have no idea how many there are when you add on everything. So start with what zone are you in, and then find out. You can even type in, what plants should I plant in June in Minnesota? Or what plants should I plant in September in Florida? And if you want to speed up time, that's where design is very helpful, because the designers will take all of that knowledge and put it into your landscape blueprint. That's the start of our puzzle, is the food forest landscape design. And that speeds up time. That'll be done in 3 weeks if you want to do that process. And then from there, you're full speed ahead with the installation.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about apps that are around on the phone to help you identify different species? Like, let's say you're walking by and you think you found a borage plant, and you're like, well, I'm not really sure. And then, some of these apps, you can take the picture of it and it should match it up closely.
Yeah.
How do you feel for that for people out? Obviously, it'll identify dandelions pretty easy, and probably like the top 20 that are, really easy to identify.
I don't use much technology. I'm even going to get rid of my iPhone here in the near future, but I love it. I think that anything that helps us be connected and have knowledge of what's possible is a good thing.
Imagine how ill-prepared you are for a 3-day power outage, or intermittent power, or rolling brownouts, intermittent power outages. Like the disruption in most people's lives. Every time they go home, something reset. Oh, it didn't charge. Oh, I didn't have the power. Oh, the lights aren't on. Oh, the refrigerator stopped. I mean, just even these minimal inconveniences. So can you almost, front run that, slow down in stability of electrical delivery? And also, phone towers will have the same phenomenon going on. So the connectivity that you would expect at 100%, I do believe, is going to start to diminish, and there's going to be many more disruptions. So if you can, again, you can embrace it and be like, great, I don't even have to be on the phone or at work right now. I can't even answer a message. Let's go outside.
Let's go outside and let's start planting more seeds. I tell you, we've been pushing it really hard, because the investment of investing in growing food right now, well, I'm watching my bank account go down in value by 20%, probably in the last 3 months, relative to food and gasoline, right? So, but yet all of the fruit trees that I purchased have went up by 50%. So it's a no-brainer on so many levels.
Yeah, what are you seeing for food pricing down there? I mean, you buy maybe you create your own fertilizers or whatnot, but what are you seeing for, like, in a farm co-op, for example, if you're going to go in and buy XYZ in there, and then at the stores, are you seeing significant price rises where it's actually noticeable? Because before they were kind of drip feeding it up 1 or 2 pennies or up a nickel, but now it seems like it's up 50 cents, $1, and you go in the next time and you're like, whoa, hold on. Yeah.
Exactly. So what I see, my wife just told me that one of our main things we buy for our daughter went up from $14.95 to $19.95 in the last week. I just heard in Germany, their main grocery store chain went up 20 to 50% across the board. Everything in their store went up 20 to 50% in the last 10 days. Right. So if that trend continues, which it will, it sounds like, then we're going to be seeing hyperinflation, which it already is, but it's going to go exponential here this summer and fall.
Yeah, I really think we were at the cusp. Like, call it what it is. Triple digit inflation on some items, which is doubling in prices. Call it what it is. It's hyperinflation.
Yeah.
And how much will that really be worth to grow, a head of lettuce at hyperinflation? I mean, what, $10,000 for the head of lettuce? When we talk hyperinflation, we're talking these numbers. $1 million for a head of lettuce. Oh, you were a millionaire. Yeah, you were. So, I mean, you can't really put value on food at that point, because it'll be $6 billion for a shopping cart full of things that you're pushing through the store,
Yeah.
And then really,
we're
coming out, we're going to be outstripping money's value. It really won't make any sense anymore. We're going to move to a different medium of exchange, I would guess.
And it's going to be, we imagine that it will be called Topia. Topia is directly linked to food production. So the value of Topia is directly linked and incentivizes food producers. So that is coming to market on the 4th of July, Independence Day. And it's going to have a major effect on the markets over time. It'll come slow, but once it gets adopted, it's a world changer.
It's on the blockchain, cryptocurrency, is that right? And then
yes,
you can use this. You can find buyer and seller, or you can find a farmer that wants to trade something using that medium of exchange.
And it's directly linked to food production. So Topia is minted in mind when somebody commits to growing food ethically without poisons. It's staked to food. So what that does is it double incentivizes food producers, which is what we need to do right now.
Yeah, because you got to think about the price of the food now versus what will be in 3 months. So if you're looking out at that, or even from July, I mean, that's where the next panic is going to ensue, is those crop tours. And then as we come into the harvest season and they see in October, it's going to be a scary one for a lot of people. Wait, can you flash back to that? I was looking in the camera at that point. Can you? Oh, what is that red one there?
Cranberry hibiscus.
Hibiscus. Yeah, I've had hibiscus tea before. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so rich. It tastes so good. We got some sugar cane
and lemongrass somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of lemongrass and some comfrey. For biodynamic accumulation, and I mean, the amount of things I'm learning every day, it's so much fun to be engaged in this way. And so I encourage everybody out there listening, if you want to have fun, if you want to go through this next period actually gaining in abundance, then this is the business. Help people solve the biggest problems that are coming right now, and that's to be self-reliant. In fact, energy is another one. In the container, we've got a battery backup, and there's a new company out that sells these systems with 12 panels, along with the inverter, the batteries, and everything other than the racking. We had to provide the racking, but everything else they provide, and you can be completely off grid for, depending on your energy usage, right? But this system's about 15 grand.
Yeah, being energy independent is going to be another thing. Now, marauders, okay, so when you're walking by in a food forest, the traditional person that might be coming from a city to go look for food or steal food out at somebody's property is going to be looking for row gardens that look like a garden. There's tomatoes there in a row, etc. So what do you think about in the food forest concept that a lot of people just walk right by the food and they wouldn't even know they walked by anything to eat? That it's sort of a disguised natural thing. Unless you can identify the plants, then you just wouldn't even know it's there. Compared to traditional row gardens, what do you think?
Most people don't know anything about where food comes from. They could walk through a food forest and they'll still starve because they just don't know they could reach out and eat incredible stuff, right? And these things, these are called rocket stoves. I'm actually blown away. I've cooked my lunch on this the last 2 days. It's almost as fast as a microwave, but of course it's sustainable and it doesn't tear the fabric of the food apart like a microwave.
Yeah, food nutrition and security of your food is going to be a huge aspect. So even the things that we take for granted, that food's always going to be there and it's always going to be at this abundant level and you never have to weigh, and there's always things there. Well, now you're going to have to move into a new world of thinking about the nutrition content of the dollars you spend for your food, growing it, and then protecting it because people are going to want to get it also.
And we're going the other way. We're going to share so openly, so transparently what we're doing that we're actually going to inspire a security team. Some people say, Jim, those big shots are going to whack you. I'm like, you know what? If they do, I've been on 50 podcasts and TV shows and radio just in the last 6 months. If they do, then this thing is going to happen 100 times faster. So I'm literally letting the transparency of our mission be my protection against these crazy people. And it's more fun that way. I don't want to live in fear of anything.
Yeah, they're just going to be hungry people, which is going to make them crazy because they've never been hungry before. So think about all these firsts that people are going to encounter. Like, what about your first egg? The first time you ever got your very first egg from a chicken, looked at that and said in your hand, like, what is this magical gem here that was,
That's a miracle, my friends. Are you kidding me? I swear to God, I did not set that prop up. We just came in, there's 5 eggs there. That's 1 egg a day per chicken. Like, and then you can actually feed the chickens easily off of the things you grow and your compost. So chickens are phenomenal.
You're gonna have to think about animal feed too. You got a great point there of, if you have animals, you're gonna have to continue to feed them through the transition. And a lot of people are relying on going off to the farm co-op and getting that 50-pound bag of chicken scratch, or they're going off to and getting the round bale of hay for their cattle or goats to nibble on. But
yeah, exactly.
Some of even hay production for your animals to get them through the lean times. I mean, I don't know many people that have hay cutters. There's a select few that go and do everybody's fields around here, because it's just more cost beneficial to sub it out to somebody else to come in and cut your field and then bale it up for you.
Yeah. And that's it's a neat solution, is specialization. It's also a problem when we don't know how to do things. And that's why our world is, the thought processes that people have now, they're very singular, they're very specialized. Whereas in the past, people knew how to do a whole bunch of stuff. Our brains were the size of a tennis ball bigger than they are now, like 10,000 years ago, because we knew how to do a lot of different things enough to survive. Now people know how to do just a few things, but let's expand our brains again.
How many people percentage wise do you really think are ready to step into this new world without any guidance? It's like step in and like, I don't know where, but they need guidance.
Okay, so ready without guidance, maybe 5%, but with guidance, I'd say that we're looking at 30+% that are ready to start and are starting to make changes. And this is based on the new people gardening and things around the world. So people are starting to make changes and adapt to the new situation. I heard this number. There's 30% that are kind of ready and kind of waking up. 40% are kind of in the middle, and 30% are just, they're stormtroopers.
I go, really? Humanity can't wake up? 40% of the people sit in that state of numbness or whatever that is, that just, okay, I believe it.
That's
because in a realistic sense, you're not going to be able to do everything to feed yourself 100% across the way. Because if you were, you'd have to raise cattle now, because you're going to need or goats or some sort of protein source in addition. And you don't really want to harvest your animals because you want to keep them producing, whether it be calves, because then those are sellable or tradable, or you want to keep the milk production coming. I know a lot of people say goat or cow milk bad. Okay, you're starving. You're never going to tell me cow milk is bad when you're starving.
Exactly.
Goats, are much better for us. But again, it's the same thing. You want to keep the yearlings and you want to keep the goats alive. You don't want to eat them for meat. You want to get all the byproducts that are coming from the goats, the milks, but you need to feed them.
Yeah.
Now, who's all ready to take these next steps up into animal husbandry above and beyond what is the food forest? You're talking a community at that point, not a single individual.
That's so true. I'm not sure if you know who Joel Salatin is.
Oh, no, Joel. He's about 3 hours from here. I was planning to go up there. He's just a step away from here in Virginia.
Yeah, he's amazing. And we're now collaborating with him. And
oh, you are? I'm going to try to get up there and visit in the next 2 months or so.
Oh, he's amazing. And we're creating basically a model where the backyard suburbanite can have animals in a way that's very regenerative. So Joel's helping us create that. We've got an educational division of our company at Food Forest Abundance, and we're teaching and bringing food forests and these systems to schools. In fact, we just applied for $100 million grant. And our goal, in fact, if anybody's listening and you want to apply for this with us, we're looking for about 300 different locations to spread this $100 million grant and put food forests in 300 different locations.
Yeah, in different zones to see the outcome, because once you know the outcome in zone 2, zone 7, wherever you're at, then suddenly, can we do way up near the Arctic? Is there something possible near the Arctic Circle? I mean, everything's possible. We just probably
Pine
haven't
tree.
stepped into it, really examined it enough in terms of food production. Because how have we gotten to this point now with 8 billion people when we survived so many cataclysms in the past? 535 AD, you got multiple eruptions that cut food production for over 10 years. And, those are the kind of things that we got through before. So when we look now, if there's no major volcanic eruptions, but generally during this period of transition electromagnetically, we do get a lot of large volcanic eruptions. Aside from that, I mean, stepping through this one should be an easy one compared to get knocked back to 100,000 humans on the planet and then starting over again from natural causes of volcanism.
Oh, I just had a thought. My partner, Michael Hoffman, who lives off grid in Montana, just did a show on the Corbett Report about eating pine trees. He would love to chat with you and be on the show. He's a phenomenal human being that really understands things about off grid and preparedness in very detailed ways.
Yeah, because how many people are ready to go to get cambium like that? As I was coming through your page there, I saw that and I was going to click into it and watch a little bit later, because the cambium, it's usually a survival food of last resort to try to get in on the barks of trees. But I mean, are we going into a cambium world? Oh no, I'd rather sit where I could go pick something easily around where I live.
No doubt about it. No doubt. Yes. As a last resort, we'll eat what we'll eat, right?